That's awesome. Like, that's so cool that I'm able to do that on the fly and just really quick like that. Welcome back to the channel and thank you guys for tuning in for today's video. Today, we're gonna be talking about sampling. I've done videos on sampling before, but it was a few months ago and I wanna give you guys an update. And not only an update, but kind of go a little more advanced into sampling with the MPC one. But before we jump into it, I do want to remind you guys to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you do enjoy this content. And as you're watching the video, if you guys are enjoying this information that I'm sharing with you guys, do not forget to give this a thumbs up because it really does help the video. So let's jump right into it. If you guys know already from some of my previous videos, when I sample into the MPC one, you know, I'm going to go right here to my sample. To my sampler, I usually like to sample in the slice feature. Depending on the style of music you're gonna sample, sometimes you're not sampling something with a 4/4 measure, but I typically, when I'm sampling, if the beat or the track that I'm sampling, it's a 4/4 measure, I'll slice it in quarter notes, and I like to sample in slice mode. And you have these 4 separate options down here in the bottom. Most of the time, you guys might be with either just on sample or on slice. The slice mode, if you guys don't know already, when you're engaged on slice mode, every time you hit a pad, it's gonna start sampling. And every time you hit that pad again, it's gonna slice to the second pad. Every time you hit that pad again, it's gonna slice to the third pad, so on and so on. So this is a very fast way to start chopping up your samples as you're making music or as you're hearing your record. And as soon as you're done with the sample page and you go back home, you already have slices on a program ready to go. Most of the time we just hear the first few seconds of a song and we either decide like, oh, we like it or we don't like it. There's times where, in this case, I like the first introduction, but then when I, sample that into the MPC one, I create my slices, create my program. Later on, as I'm building this beat, I'm like, man, I want to add a few more sections into this program. I don't want to, create a separate program just to get 1 or 2 more snippets of this record in 1 or 2 of these pads. This is what's going to really help us. We're going to utilize these 2 other options that allow us to add certain notes into these pads that we might not be using. It's going to make sense right now as we're going to go through with what I'm going to show you. So stick around and let's have some fun. Oh, and before you guys start sampling into your MPC one, make sure you got your recording levels set properly. I personally like to set my recording levels at about -9 to -3 dB. Just kind of, a heads up. So make sure you guys do that.
2000 years. And he looks a million miles ahead, and 2000.
There it is. I'm gonna name this, and I'm gonna go to edit because as you guys saw it in the beginning, I didn't catch the downbeat, which is okay. I missed a pad right here. I should have thrown in a pad or a slice right there, which I did not do, but it's okay. I could just hit this little pencil icon and just throw it in there. Now I have that pad. So I just added it right there. So I'm gonna adjust the start point of that pad that I added. And as you guys are seeing, I'm using these cue links right here. The first cue link makes some very broad adjustments. The second one gets more narrow. Third, a little more tight. Fourth, tighter. So make sure you guys play around with these as you're making your slices. All right, cool. So that sounds okay. So here's what we have so far. Now when I go to my main page, I go to track 3. Let's name track 3 sample right there. And let's look for that program that we just created, which is right here.
And he
All right, so that's the measure that I want to play with. Now, I don't know the tempo. The way I like to just kind of dial in the tempo real quick is as I'm clicking these pads, I'll do the tap tempo. It'll give me a rough estimate of what the BPM is. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
and he
At about 100 BPM. We'll hit play right now. I have some some basic drum break playing in the background. I don't want to focus too much on that. I just want to focus on the sampling part. I'm going to go ahead and lay a simple beat, a loop going on right here.
and he
All right, cool. So let's just say we're building the beat and we're filling it. We got our bass, we have our loop going, and we're enjoying what we're hearing. But let's say we notice that we're not really using some of these other pads and they're not being as used as much as we thought we were gonna be using them. Instead of using some of these other pads that we're like, yeah, I don't really like these pads and I don't like how that sounds into the beat, I'm not gonna use that. But let's just say the beat is getting very repetitive. So what we want to do, at least for me, I like to keep going on that record and look for other sections of that record that I can throw into this loop just to switch things up. Maybe my first sequence sounds good. It's a 2-bar loop.
and he
But maybe I want to do copy that first sequence. Let's copy it. We got a copy sequence, paste it to another sequence. We have sequence 1, sequence 2. Let's say in sequence 2, I want to add some other chops or just to switch things up so it's not too repetitive. What I'm doing now is, all right, cool. I have some right there. I want to use the same program. I don't want to create a separate program. Neither do I want to go to separate banks because bank A is already all filled up, but these other pads I'm not going to use. I want to stay within the same bank and just substitute some of these pads that I'm not even utilizing. So what I would do in this case is I'm going to go back to my sampler, and on my sampler, I'm going to use this pad hold function. You could use a pad tap, but I'm going to use the pad hold. What this is going to do is whatever pad you hold or tap, is going to sample that snippet or that section into that pad. When I let go or when you hit stop, you go back to your main menu. Now you're going to have that small snippet of a sample into that pad. It stays within the same program. You don't have to create a separate program. And I'm just listening and I'm grabbing sections of the record and adding them to my same program in my same bank so I can have everything accessible for me right here on the go. So to me, that's amazing. That makes everything so much easier and my workflow becomes a lot more creative because I'm not just looping the first section. Now I'm listening to the entire song and finding other gems in the song that I can add here. So let's go ahead and do that and see if we can find something different we can throw into this loop right here.
far distant land.
All right, right there. I don't know if you guys just heard that, but what now? If I go home, I go to my main screen. As you guys notice, I was on that program and I hold down this pad. So now as I go back to my main screen, if I engage that pad,
Looks and look a million man.
that's awesome. Like, that's so cool that I'm able to do that on the fly and just really quick like that. So now, obviously, I have that new snippet that I sampled on this pad. I can go into my program edit and go into my samples. And if I engage this pad, obviously I did not start recording on the downbeat. So I can go ahead and tighten that up right now. Let's go ahead and do that. That is so cool. So look, obviously I'm not trying to build the coolest beat right now. I'm just showing you guys how we can add different sections of the song to our same program, which that right there is the main thing to take away from this video. All right, cool. And let's just say I'm not using these other pads right here. We go back to our sampler and I'm gonna listen to another small snippet of that song and see if I can add that to another pad. Like I'm not using any of these right here, and these are unused. So I can go ahead and utilize these pads. So let's go ahead and do that.
As sun will welcome him each day as he rests 'neath weeping willows, and the things he owns are on his back.
All right, so you guys saw what I just did right now. I can select any pad and I'm just grabbing little sections. Every pad that I'm selecting and I'm holding down, when I let go of it, it stops sampling onto that pad. And as you guys saw, I let the record play and I started grabbing different sections. I hold it down for like about a beat or a bar, and then I let go. It could be any pad that I engage or I touch. So now if I go home, I have these new pads that I just sampled. So see how they're being cut off really quick? Even if I hold them down, I don't hear anything. I'm editing the video, just a quick heads up. I noticed that I was not holding down the pad, and that's why they're only playing little like milliseconds. Make sure you guys hold down the pad, and when you let go, it's gonna grab that section. That's why it's playing like that right now in this video. It was a mistake from my side. I was just tapping it, and so just make sure you guys are holding down the pad for as long as you want to record it and let it go. That is crazy. I'm sorry. I'm probably like sweating right now, but I'm right here in my garage. I'm getting into this, and yeah, the heat is real right now. So as you guys saw right there, that right there just blew my mind. I come from the 2000 XL. On the 2000 XL, the way I sample on that machine, I just sample into individual pads as I'm listening to records, and I'm kind of building my program as I go. So it's similar to this, but what I like about the MPC-1 or the newer MPCs is you can sample your 4 to 8 bar measure, you create your slices the way we did in the beginning with the slice mode, you're done with your program. But like I mentioned, I'm just doing a recap real quick. As you're building your beat, there is times, and I'm sure you guys have bumped into this. If you guys have not, you will bump into it. Your beat is being repeated so much that it could just get fatiguing to the ear. But when you hit those bumps, or you don't know where to go to next, I like to continue to listen to the record, and as I hear other small pieces that I like, I'll sample those into pads that I'm not utilizing. I keep doing that, I keep doing that, I keep doing that, and I go back to the sequence and I start incorporating these other amazing sections of the record. So that's pretty much it, guys. I wanted to show you guys this technique because I've been using this a lot, and this is just something that it helps me be more creative as I'm making music. Thank you guys for tuning in and taking your time and checking out this video. If you guys have not done so already, make sure you guys check out some of my other videos. I'll leave link to those right here. And again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in and taking your time. You guys have a blessed day. I'll catch y'all on our next video.
And he